I just got a headache. I just got a headache from that. Oh my god. Oh my god. We leave that in or no?
I mean, I don't think that they'll be able to hear that what we heard.
Oh my god. I mean, I'll leave it in and just explain what happened. Oh my god, that's never happened before.
No, never once. Not like the year I've been doing this on Zoom.
Holy crap. Mike just got lightheaded from that. Oh my god, I laughed so hard. Anyway, welcome back to Sports and Nonsense. For those of you who probably didn't hear what just happened, I don't know if it'll say on the recording, but apparently Zoom has a new feature since we recorded last Thursday, and whenever you click record, a little woman's voice pops up and says, This meeting is being recorded.
Cortana just told us that we were being recorded.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh my god, that's never happened before. Oh, that blew my mind. I can't wait to watch that back. Oh my god. Anyway.
I think our face was the best.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was like shock and then laughter. Oh god. All right.
Once we realized we were safe, it was laughter.
Oh man. Anyway, I lost track of what I was going to start talking about. Oh shit. Oh, anyway, welcome back to Sports and Nonsense, where we talk about sports and we talk a lot of nonsense. Last week we had to end the recording a little early. There was some stuff that we had that was going on, but so we didn't get through the full season of like must watch games. But we can also do that later.
I do want to point out that at the end of the last episode, I was eating, and here I am.
Yeah, continuing to eat. Yeah, I promise this is not like we're not recording multiple in the same day. I think you had Wendy's last time, right?
I did. It was my first Wendy's all year because of my diet.
I'm shocked because when you said I didn't think about it when you told me you were having Wendy's. I remember you said you were on keto,
no carbs.
No carbs.
I lost like 50 pounds, so it was time.
And now you're back on carbs.
Now I'm back to 30 pounds. No, it was my first time getting Wendy's all year.
Nice. And here you are eating bread.
It's so good, man. I got pretzels too.
I got pretzels. Oh, man.
My carb intake isn't as much as it was like last year where I was a fat bastard, you know.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we can go over some. There hasn't been really any big things happening in the world of football, at least. Excuse me. It's earlier than we were normally recording as well. Rich is wearing a polo.
Work outfit, you like?
He's being fancy today. But there is one thing that actually happened today, and it's official. And that Tebow is officially signed with the Jacksonville Jaguars as a tight end.
Yeah.
So, how do you think he fits into that offense?
He doesn't.
Oh, good.
I have a very not bad feeling, but I have a feeling that Urban Meyer is going to suck as a head coach.
You think?
Yeah. Not because of Tebow, but I just think it's one more piece of the puzzle.
The decisions he's making, his draft.
No, he had a good draft. And Trevor Lawrence is no doubt, but
they drafted a running back.
Yeah,
like
I just think
when they have coaches, James Robinson.
The two coaches I feel like I'm kind of about is Urban Meyer and the new Eagles coach.
I just saw his name.
It's some Italian, I think.
It starts with an S. Sirianni.
Yeah, some kind of spaghetti. And those two, I have a little bit of questions about. I'm not sure. Like I said, if any of the new class fail, it'll be them. I think.
I have my concerns about Dan Quinn, and not Dan Quinn.
Where's Dan Quinn?
Dan Campbell.
Oh, the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, And only because I see this article on ESPN that says, off the cuff, Detroit Lions coach Dan Campbell jokes about bringing pet lion to practice.
So do you have a pet lion? I need answers to that question.
I don't know.
But also, what's stopping you from bringing the pet lion? Is it the lack of a pet lion, or is it the law? Like, what's stopping it?
If bringing a Super Bowl to Detroit requires losing an arm, then new Lions head coach Dan Campbell says he would be armless.
Well, the man is a kneecap.
So he's like Vrabel, except not talking about his penis. He's talking about his arms. Because Vrabel's
not job too, though, wouldn't
he? Yes, Vrabel said he would cut off his penis for a Super Bowl. It says on Sunday he made a guest appearance on Pardon My Take podcast, which he shared the idea that he actually presented to Lions owner Sheila Ford about having a pet lion around the team's practice facility.
What could go wrong there? I mean, it is Detroit, so it wouldn't make much of a difference in the city. But
quote, I don't think we're going to be able to do it, but I would love to literally just have a pet lion. Just a legit pet lion on a chain, a big ass chain. And he really is my pet.
How'd they go from Matt Patricia to him? Matt Patricia is like...
We just walk around the building. We go out to practice. We're on at 7-on-7.
Like he's a monkey? Like he's just a monkey on his shoulder? Like...
We're behind the kicker when he's kicking. There we are.
That poor kicker. Like, hey, don't miss this kick, guy. And he just got a lion. Like
Campbell further imagined that the lion would be, quote, on command. Campbell joked that if a position group wasn't performing well, he could have the lion relieve itself in front of the group.
Dan Campbell's weird.
Quote, I mean, think about it. That would be outstanding.
I still like Dan Campbell. That guy's crazy.
This guy is insane.
A kneecap biter. He bites your knees.
He's like
all I can picture now, though, is that bit from Family Guy where Peter brings the lion home and Brian goes, does it bite? He goes, of course it bites the lion. That's all I can picture now.
He also had said, the problem is, I don't know if PETA is going to allow that, though. It's going to be hard.
Concern is PETA?
Believe me, though, we would take great care of it. It would be fed well. It would be petted. It would be manicured. I might end up losing an arm because of it, but that would be even better because it would validate what this is a creature now. This is an animal. This is a thing. This is from the wild.
Did he know what planet he was on?
This is the greatest start to this podcast ever. Like
Dan Campbell. We might need a new segment of the podcast. Remember we used to do Dope of the Week?
Yeah.
Dan Campbell might get his own segment.
Dan Campbell says. Every time I see an article about Dan Campbell, I read it off.
What has that absolute madman done this week? This week in Dan Campbell's unit. Listen, we're all just living in Dan Campbell's world. That's all that's going on. He's the main character.
Oh my God, that was oh man, that was a great article. Thank you, ESPN, for that article about Dan Campbell and pet lions. Could you imagine if every team did that? I know there's a lot of teams the
real life mascot.
Yeah, well, some of the birds of prey teams, like the Falcons, I think have a falcon.
Well, yeah, that's easy. Safe. You imagine but
could you imagine if the Bears had this 1,100-pound grizzly bear?
Or the Jets, they're just alive. This is just constantly going around the stadium.
Yeah.
I would think the Giants, they just got a mythical beast, you just tied up in the parking lot.
Yeah.
I mean,
man.
Any of those teams, with the crazy, that'd be, awesome, but it's the same thing. What would a Packard get? Just some guy at a factory? Just, cheese. Just
Yeah.
Just constantly putting stuff in boxes.
I mean, the Ace Ventura movie, the Dolphins team did have a pet dolphin at their facility in the Ace Ventura movie.
What would the Steelers have?
A guy who works in a steel mill.
They're just some guy.
Yeah, just some guy in a hard hat.
Some tough, abrasive guy.
Some guy from Pittsburgh, wearing a hard hat and overalls.
I think all the team names now. Like, what are some of their most ridiculous live mascots? The Cowboys would be a pretty funny one. Just a guy.
I think the most funniest one would be a 49er. Just have some old kook going on about the gold rush.
I would think you'd want like the old Scooby-Doo episode of like remember the Scooby-Doo episode with the something 49er?
It was minor 49er.
Minor 49er. Yeah, just one of that. You know? It's
some crazy guy who's wacky about the gold rush. Yeah.
What else we got? So that's funny. That's actually more thing about now. The funnier it gets.
You can't really do the Chiefs anymore. Yeah, that's not culturally sensitive.
You can just get a Navy chief.
Oh, yeah.
Just some guy in khakis yelling at everybody. What else we got? The football team. You just got a random football team every week. You know, just some team every week.
It's just some random team.
Yeah,
that's funny. I mean, the Bengals would have a tiger.
Yeah, the Browns would have a pit bull. That's like their mascot, but it had to be brown.
It's a bulldog, isn't it?
Brown bulldog.
Yeah.
You know, some pretty funny college team names if colleges did it though.
Oh, Alabama could have an elephant.
Yeah, but it has to be a crimson elephant, even though the Crimson Tide has almost nothing to do with an elephant.
No, it does not.
The Gators. There's a live alligator wandering around the stadium.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they had an alligator.
Florida. They might.
It's already. Florida.
Buccaneers.
Yeah. I mean, their mascot is pretty much already that.
Yeah, like it's an actual buccaneer who just wandering around, just stabbing fools and taking their jewelry. You know.
They just got Johnny Depp, Jack Sparrow walking around. Yeah. Why is the rum gone?
But the Bills is a live buffalo, just in Buffalo, New York, like the worst place for buffalo to be.
Same thing with the Texans. You're just gonna have some huge longhorn, like some huge bull, wandering around Houston.
We're forgetting the best one, the Saints. They gotta go and
they gotta go get someone from the priesthood.
Bring the Pope.
Yeah. Oh man.
Pope was there every week. Well,
I mean, if you think about it too, like you're just gonna have like with baseball teams, Red Sox, White Sox. You're just gonna cover the stadium in socks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about like? Again, I don't know. I think the best one is the Jets, man. Just an actual jet.
They just rolling around the stadium.
You know how loud that would be all game. Everyone's got tinnitus and hearing loss by the end of the game.
Oh man,
there's some good. But the 49ers are a good one. Some old guy just raving about the gold rush.
Mm-hmm.
What do the Chargers be? Man, just
Yeah, I guess.
Jamie Foxx version.
Oh man.
Dan Campbell. Man, that's a new segment this week in Dan Campbell's world.
Yeah. Yep. I'll have to find one, see if I can find one every week.
You know what, I still like him.
What else he says.
I still like him, man. He's a football coach. He coaches football.
So crazy.
You from Matt Patricia, who I said looks like he has Bud Heavies in his truck. Dan Campbell actually has Bud Heavies in his truck. like he might have a Bud Heavy right now.
Yeah, at 1:00 in the afternoon,
1:45 Eastern time.
Yeah,
so that's not even noon for him yet.
Is Detroit Central Time?
I think it is.
Well, in the world of other sports,
wait, hang on. How do we go from Tim Tebow to tight end to Dan Campbell wants a lion?
So we were talking about Tim Tebow, and then you said, I don't think Urban Meyer is going to be a good coach. And then we started talking about the new coaches, like the Eagles spaghetti coach. And and then I saw the Dan Campbell article as we were talking about it, and I was like, "Oh, I need to bring this up because this is awesome."
It's got a spaghetti noodle. I don't know.
It's funny. There's that article, and then 2 articles down from that one, it says firefighters rescue kitten that became stuck in New York Giants cornerback Isaac Yindam's car.
Isaac Yindam is still in the Giants.
Apparently,
good for him. Yeah, how did you get a kitten stuck in his car?
Well, let's see. It was like underneath. Like, I guess it crawled up underneath the car.
It wasn't his.
It wasn't in the car. No, it wasn't in the car. It was up in the it was in the undercarriage.
I was like, all that money and you can't afford a spare set of keys.
Oh God, he drives a Maserati too, and they had to disassemble the car to reach the kitten. Ugh. It was stuck above the rear differential.
You're that, PETA? That's commitment.
Yeah.
PETA. That's a great bit too. Someone's having a rally about me? No, PETA. I'm talking about PETA.
No, I'm talking about PETA. That's me. I'm PETA. No, not you, PETA.
Are we really doing this? That's one of the best. Yeah. One of the best bits I've ever heard, man.
I think Betty White is in PETA. It doesn't make any sense. So baseball's still going on, so that's cool.
Speaking of baseball,
it's like 2 months into the season, and it's not like it's 2 months into the season. Like, it's baseball. It's 162 games.
Speaking of baseball, MLB The Show 21 runs like garbage on the Xbox.
Yeah, it sure does. I've had my issues with that game, and
runs like garbage. I got the Series X.
Yeah, so do I.
Runs like good for you. Runs like absolute dog shit.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was something wrong with my Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
So this is before Mass Effect came out. I downloaded Gears of War 5, which, as we all know, is a Series X enhanced game. You know, it's one of their marketing games.
Mm-hmm.
Runs like butter on hot toast.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but you put an MLB, supposedly optimized for Series X. It's like, oh, he's pitching and he pitches like this. You know, like the ball.
Oh, see, I haven't run into any issues with that. I've had it smooth. The only issues I've had is getting connected to the servers.
No issue for me. I'm always connected.
And, see, I'm always having issues connecting to a server.
I have never crashed, but the game runs like it was made in 1999.
Yeah, see, I haven't had any issues with that yet. The one thing I will say about the game is,
you better stop raining.
What?
You better stop raining.
Yeah. The one thing I have to say about the game is it's not realistic at all.
Well, no.
So I'm pitching, right? I'm using my pitcher. And I'm in the 8th inning. And I finished the 8th inning, and I have pitched. What?
Yeah, the Xbox notification. We both
turned
Xbox to see what it was.
I pitched. I pitched through the 8th inning with my pitcher, and I pitched 60 pitches.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
Told you, didn't they?
They pulled me in the 9th inning.
Yeah,
because we were only up by 2 runs.
Yeah.
So instead of me finishing a complete game shutout, with only pitching 70, maybe 75 pitches, they pulled me in the 9th inning to get the save.
Are you doing the dual position player?
No,
me neither. I tried it. I tried it with like my pitcher. I made him a shortstop too, but like he's a way better pitcher. Obviously, you know?
I suck at hitting in that game.
Well, I'm pretty good at it.
I suck at hitting.
I go through spurts. I'll be really bad for like 2 weeks, and then I'll be really good for like 2 weeks. I mean, real time, not like in the game. See what I'm burping on. Oh, here we go. It's better. So I tried the dual position thingy, and like it was interesting. I thought maybe I can get to the majors faster this way.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, like, because it's all tied to your overall. So like you won't move up until your overall is higher than
Right.
the guy above you, which I kind of get that, but like when the guy above me's potential is a D and he's like 33, and my potential is like an A and I'm 18, like call him up.
Yeah.
You know, like it's you're obviously gonna do it, just do it. And so I did the dual position thing, figure, okay, well I'll get to the majors for something, pitching or shortstop. No,
Mm-hmm.
I abandoned that character altogether, I made a new one. Ironically got drafted by the Yankees, which made me kind of throw up a little bit. But I was in the majors after his first season in minors as a shortstop, you know. But the
See,
Yankees shortstop is only rated like a 75 overall to start, so it didn't take me long. But I gotta be honest though, I do like how they changed the drafting thingy. I don't like the lack of the showcase games, but I do like how they instead of making it like the top 5 no matter what, now it's random at any team in the MLB.
top 5.
So remember the last few years, like you would get drafted within the first like 10 picks of like whatever round you get drafted in.
It depends on how you performed in the showcase games.
Oh, never worked for me. I would purposely strike out every game and like suck ass to try and get picked in the later picks of like that particular round.
Yeah.
Never made it out of the top 10.
Yeah, I always did
an 0 for 4 at bat in both games.
Mm-hmm.
Like struck out looking, didn't even swing. And like errors, or I'd pick up the ball and not even throw it. You know, like I was just trying to see what would happen. And I still got drafted by the Mets, like in the 5th pick in like of that particular round. I mean, it is the Mets, but like, yeah. And but this one I kind of like where it is truly random. You know what I mean? So it gives that's what I was doing. You remember, like last season, I would just pick a number. I'd go on random number generator, and I would just pick a number, and then whatever number team that was in the list of teams, I would just force to draft into that team.
Right.
I like that, but I like the randomness. I do like that.
You can still do that.
I know. But it's random now. I don't have to do the number generator. I can just whatever coach, whatever team drafts me.
See, whenever I do it, I always do the same player 3 different times, and whichever team I like the best, I'll go to that team.
Oh, you force it the 4th time?
No. So like I do it 3 times, and then I pick from those 3 teams of like whichever one
save files.
I'll have 3 saves, and I'll whichever one I want to play for, I'll play for that team. So I think I'm on the Braves for my pitcher.
My one forced one, I always force the Red Sox because, come on, you know, and that's my pitcher / shortstop.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, what's his name? A shortstop's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. But
yeah,
I kind of figured they would change my position, and they didn't.
You can probably change your own position.
I don't know if you can.
Like if you talk to your agent at some point, you'd be like, "Hey, I want to change positions."
Oh, maybe, I don't know. But then, so I went back in, and I was like, you know, I'm just going to make a position player. And I picked shortstop because that's my favorite position, you know, in terms of baseball. I just put it to random. I'm going to get picked by anybody. And the Yankees drafted me. So I was like, oh, okay, well, that's gross. But so I went and looked at the roster. I was like, oh, I can probably get the majors pretty quick with the Yankees. So it was one season in the minors, and they called them up right after spring training. So here I am in Yankee Stadium, just hitting absolute nukes out there.
Yeah, see, I can't hit like well, but I use analog.
Adjust the sliders a little bit.
The sliders, like go to your settings and adjust the sliders. Okay, I use analog. I use analog to.
I use analog too, and
yeah.
I need this year. I've needed the like the contact window slider increase because it's so unforgiving this year. And it's I think it's like the second one from the top. It's called like timing window or something.
Yeah.
It just makes it a little bit bigger. Not like the actual bar, but you have more time to like get that hit. Don't get me wrong, I still hit plenty of, you know, fly outs or, you know, infield, you know, I
strike out a lot.
Well, that's your own vision. But yeah, if you adjust the timing, it might help in that sense. Again, like I said, when I'm pitching, I had the difficulty set the dynamic, and when I'm pitching, I do like the little I do the bar, you know.
Oh, see, I use analog for pitching.
I used to, but I felt like I was cheating if I use the normal analog and not the new one. So I switched
the precision pitching.
So I switched over to like the bar. You got to hit it twice for power and accuracy. And I feel good there, but like at the end of the day, man, I mean, it's a video game. I want to have fun, not just
Right.
suck ass for 9 innings. So
That's why I don't do position players anymore, and I just stick with
but
pitching.
again, address the sliders, man.
Maybe.
I mean, like I said, I've done plenty of experiments trying to get it like perfect. You know what I mean? And I just to shits and giggles, I put the power all the way up just to see like am I gonna hit a home run every time I hit this ball? No, you don't. You hit a lot more for sure, but you don't. You still get plenty of flyouts, plenty of infield out, grounders and all that. Like I said, man, it's not as good as the one last year, which wasn't as good as I think 18 was the best one I played in a while. I think I'm trying to remember.
Yeah.
I don't know. We talk about nonsense in sport. This is both right now. I mean, if I was going to review the game, I'd give it a 7 at the best. You know.
Fair.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, it's I am getting tired of the commentary. I turned it off, which is the first time I've turned it off since I started buying the show. Because I didn't notice it until you said it. Like it's just so repetitive.
It's the same. It's the same as every single thing. So the other thing that's going on in sports is the NHL playoffs started last week. The Bruins were the first. The Bruins and the Capitals are the first team to play in the NHL playoffs, and they played Saturday. And they've played 3 games in their series. And if nobody is aware, like, we're both from New England. I'm a big Bruins fan. Obviously, I've got my Bruins memorabilia over there. But all 3 games of this series so far have gone to overtime, and I can't take it anymore.
Did you won at least?
We've won 2 out of 3. So we're up 2-1 in the series, and I can't do it. I can't, like, I know that, like, typically in the playoffs, like, you have some overtime games, like you'll have some overtime games because the teams are good against each other, but 3 in a row and 4 overtime periods in 3 games, like, I can't stomach anymore. Like, that has to end in regulation the next game. Like,
not to like make a poor comparison. I just want to share a story. The last 2 times the Giants went to the Super Bowl, they went into overtime in the NFC Championship game.
Oh, okay.
And I remember just going like, come on.
Yeah. It's the same feeling. It's the same feeling, except with the NFL playoffs, it's that one game. It's a one and done game. So,
speaking of which, did you hear what Calais Campbell said?
No.
About how he thinks it's harder to get to the Super Bowl than it is to like the NBA or the NHL finals. Oh, you didn't hear what he said. I'm sorry. I totally botched that conversation.
I would think that's yes.
His reasoning, which I kind of agree with, because remember last week or a week before I said I think hockey is harder sport than football, and I still do.
Yes.
But I agree with his statement. And he says when you play a best of 7, you could drop 0-2, and the best team will probably still win that series. You know what I mean? In most situations, you know.
Yeah, once you go down 0-2, though, it's really hard to come back because then you have to win the next 4 out of 5.
No, I know. Like I said, and that's why I think most of the better teams will still win those next.
Yeah.
Because you're playing again, your best of 7. Where in the NFL, you take one drive off and you might lose that whole game, which then means you might not make the playoffs, or which means you might not. Obviously, if you lose the game in playoffs, you're out. There's one and done. You know. Yeah. So I agree with him, I think, in that sense. I still think hockey's harder.
So hockey is the hardest to get to the Stanley Cup because, like, so if we talk about
if we talk about World Series, then it is the Stanley Cup.
If we take football out of it, because football is a one and done playoff format.
I think it's the only major sport that's like that.
Yes. It is the only major sport that is like that because baseball, hockey, and basketball all do series. Yeah. But if
one and done though, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Like I
was going to say, that'd be a long World Cup.
So, well, the thing of it is football is only played once a week.
Yeah.
And because it's so like. It's very demanding. Like it's like you're on the field for a really long time, whether you're offense on defense. And like with hockey or basketball, with basketball, they're like walking up and down the court. Okay. Like, yes, there are some fast breaks going on, but there are, for the most part, they're kind of for the most of the game, kind of standing still or walking up and down.
I think basketball is pretty high endurance sport for sure.
I would say baseball's the lowest because baseball you are standing around for the majority of the game. But in hockey, so I would say hockey is the most endurance because you're on ice and you're always moving and you're always going pretty much almost at full speed. Like you're not really standing around. You're always moving your feet. You're always moving around the ice. Whereas basketball, if you're guarding one guy and he's not moving, you just have to make sure that he doesn't get behind you.
It's like in football practice where you tell the guy in front of you, hey, I'm not going to go full if you don't go full. Yeah, no problem.
Right.
And you both just push on each other for.
And there are fast breaks in basketball. I'm not saying that it's a lazy sport, but there are fast breaks in basketball where they'll go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But if they're taking their time, like in running out the shot clock, they're just dribbling the ball at the top of the key, like just kind of like looking for an opening. And then guys are all running around and then they'll pass the ball around and wait for the shot clock to go down. Whereas hockey is back and forth all the time. And it's, trying to get possession of the puck, this because you're not holding on to anything on the ice. So when I'm thinking of, and this is kind of where I'm going, like with when football can't be like a series type of playoff format because they only play one game a week. And hockey, basketball, baseball, they play up to like 3 or 4, 5, 6 times a week. So, because it's different, and football is definitely highly endurance and you get hit a lot. You get hit more, I think, in football than you do in hockey.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why I think they don't play more than one game in like a week span.
I am going to disagree with you in difficulties of getting to a championship, though. I think the World Series is harder to get to than the Stanley Cup. But I don't know hockey as well as you do. But I just
see the thing of it is,
I only think that because to make it to the World Series, it's obviously I agree with baseball is a much less endurance sport than basketball, football, hockey, soccer. But I think in baseball, the team element of it, there's so much more out of your control. You can have 3 superstars on a baseball team, right? Which 3 superstars on a basketball team is game changing. I would like to say 3 on a hockey team is pretty game changing. I would think. No, okay, whatever. I don't know hockey as well as you do. 3 superstars in a football team is game changing, But those 3 superstars in baseball, you can still lose all 4 games if your pitching sucks, if your hitting sucks. See,
that's the thing. That's the thing. Like with the NBA. And this is going back to like the mid 2010s, right? So in the NBA, actually, even now, like in the NBA, if you have LeBron James on your team, you are probably going to have a chance to go to the NBA Finals.
Or we go to the playoffs at least.
Well, they're in the playoffs right now. They're the 7th seed.
What I'm saying is, if you only have LeBron James, and then you have like me, you, and this llama, we're probably still going to the NBA playoffs.
Right. And then if we look back at like the Golden State Warriors of the 2010s, they were always playing the Cleveland Cavaliers in the NBA Finals. It was always those 2 teams. And so like if you have a super team in the NBA that has at least 3, maybe 4 players on it that are really good, you're always going to make the NBA Finals. You're always going to beat those other teams.
But I'm
in hockey,
there you go.
It's a 7-game series and anything can happen. So I'll say it like this. 2 years ago, the Tampa Bay Lightning were the President's Trophy winners, meaning they had the best record in the league. They went to the Stanley Cup Finals as the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. They played the number 8 seed, the Columbus Blue Jackets, and they lost 4 games in a row. So like they were the best team, the best set team, and the odds-on favorite to win the Stanley Cup that year, and they got swept out of the playoffs, first round. So like anything could happen, and you could have like it's kind of the same thing with baseball. Like baseball, you could have a bad pitching game, and you're going to lose that game. Your goalie could be bad that game, and he could be like not on his stuff.
But and again, correct me if I'm wrong here, because I don't know hockey as well as you do. Goalie has a bad game tonight.
Yeah.
Right. Is he also playing tomorrow night?
He's probably playing the next game. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, in baseball, the reason why I think it's harder, because pitching is obviously such a huge part of baseball, if not the biggest part,
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you have one really, really good pitcher, he's your ace, and then your next four guys is just me, you, and this llama,
Mm-hmm.
like you're gonna win, you're gonna lose those. Well, how many? There's three of us here. Three out of those four games
Mm-hmm.
because you, me, and this llama can't pitch for crap.
Right.
Even though that pitcher we have is a great pitcher, maybe we have that one great pitcher and like four or five great batters.
But it depends on the other team. Like if their other team has a really good pitching core, then yeah,
That's
you're
what I
right.
mean.
But if
And
they only if
that's why
they have the same kind of pitching core, then it would be a really good game one. But then the games 2, 3, and 4 are going to be offensive games.
so that's why I think getting the World Series is a little harder than getting to the Stanley Cup final. But that may also be just the level of the sport itself and my knowledge of the sport.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, I guess I think the World Series is harder to get to than the Stanley Cup final. Both of them are hard to get to. Way harder. I think it's harder to get to the Super Bowl, yes, than it is to get to the Stanley Cup final or the World Series.
See, like because that's
because the margin of error is so much smaller in football.
It's hard to think about it like this because last year in the MLB they had a shortened season.
Yeah.
So
every season
last
the NFL, right?
Yeah. Even basketball and hockey were a shortened season this year. But last year they only played like 40, 50 games out of 162. And the team that went to the World Series with the Dodgers was the Tampa Bay Rays. And they have a terrible pitching staff. Yeah. But they had a really good bullpen and they had a really good like offensive core for their hitting. So that's how they kind of got into the World Series and they beat the Astros. I think they beat the Yankees and the Astros. But I don't know. I'd have to look at like the past Stanley Cup champions and the past World Series champions and like who they played. Because
I think we can all agree that to get to the NBA finals is the easiest out of the.
As long as you have a good core, like the Nets.
All you need is
the Nets this year.
LeBron James or a few really good players.
I think the Nets are going to make the NBA finals this year just because of their team. Like they have Kawhi Leonard. No, they don't have Kawhi Leonard. They have Kevin Durant. They have Kyrie Irving. They have James Harden. Like that's their big three.
If they don't make the finals, it's going to be the biggest meme. Even bigger than LeBron James and Michael Jordan debate. That's like you need to make the finals.
Yeah,
Yep.
I agree.
Whether or not you win the finals is debatable, but you need to at least be there.
Mm-hmm. There's one last thing I want to discuss with you today before we wrap up. And that is that you are not doing fantasy football this year again.
No.
Correct. I may know the answer to this question, but would you like to live vicariously through me in my ventures of fantasy football?
Like I always do anyway.
Yeah, I know. So I finished my, so every year, just so everyone's aware, and I think you know this because I do it every year, is I do a spreadsheet of, and I put all the players and positions in my own ranking system that I do. And then I take those players and then I draft with, I do kind of a mix. I do Yahoo's ranking and then I do my own ranking and I kind of like mix and match both. So I did a mock draft yesterday.
Yeah.
My first one of the year. I picked
by yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like I picked the other people join. It's a Yahoo mock draft. So like there was 10 people.
Okay.
There was 10 people. They all picked.
When I said by yourself, I thought you were like in your room with the lights off. Just like, okay, I would pick.
I mean, the lights were off, but I did it through Yahoo. So I actually have a list. I picked number 1 because I just did it randomly and that's where it put me. So I was like, okay. So I picked number 1 overall. And I don't have them in order of which, actually I may have it in order of which I drafted them. Give me a second. I'd have to open my email and find it. Here it is. Okay. So I do have the order of which I drafted. Okay. number one overall, and I was on the fence of who I wanted to pick number one overall, and you can kind of give your input.
There's 3 players I would take number one overall, but go ahead.
I chose Christian McCaffrey number one overall.
That's the one I would pick number one.
Okay, it was between him and Dalvin Cook.
No.
Who's your other 2 players you would pick number one overall then?
Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry.
You said 3.
Saquon Barkley.
Oh, okay.
Dalvin Cook's a close 4th.
Yeah. And then, I mean, because Kamara's up there too, but Kamara,
I would put like the first player on like the B team.
Kamara's going to run that offense this year.
If I put those 4 in like A tier, I would put Alvin Kamara like the first guy in B tier.
Okay.
Only because without Drew Brees, I'm stacking that box. I'm making James Winston beat me.
My second overall pick was Calvin Ridley.
For the second round?
Yes.
Okay.
Which basically, since I picked first, it's the 20th pick.
Why Calvin Ridley?
Because he was a wide receiver, and he's a really good one.
Who else was available?
I don't remember. So when I picked Calvin Ridley, let's see, Joe Mixon, Mike Evans, Antonio Gibson, Justin Jefferson, DeAndre Swift, Miles Sanders.
First of all, never take Mike Evans. That's like my ultimate advice for everybody. Like that guy has screwed me more than anybody on this planet.
I mean, in terms of wide receivers, those that were available: Mike Evans, Justin Jefferson, Allen Robinson, Terry McLaurin, Keenan Allen, Michael Thomas.
Michael Thomas?
He's on Drew Brees.
I would still take Michael Thomas.
He doesn't have Drew.
But you know what, though?
I'm very wary about that pick.
I would also, but Devontae Adams, he was gone, I'm guessing?
Devontae Adams was gone, yeah. Devontae Adams was taken fourth pick, second round.
Oh, okay. I think in 4th overall, I almost threw up.
No.
Man, that guy fucked your draft.
Top 4 picks were Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, and Saquon Barkley were the top 5.
Jonathan Taylor, huh?
Indianapolis are running back.
I would take Nick Chubb before I took Jonathan Taylor. But, okay. Whatever. I don't know. Receivers, man, I would have Stephon Diggs rated higher than Calvin Ridley.
Well, Stephon Diggs got taken.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Well, AJ Brown.
AJ Brown got taken.
Oh, okay. Then I guess Calvin Ridley's not a bad pick.
So the wide receivers, huh?
Metcalf. Oh, I forgot you picked first, and it's Snakes.
I gotta go back. Snakes.
I totally forgot. I was like, man.
20 picks got picked before, or 19 people got picked before I picked Calvin Ridley.
So I'm guessing
the wide receivers that got taken were Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, Devontae Adams, AJ Brown, DK Metcalf, and DeAndre Hopkins.
Okay, then Calvin Ridley's fine. I'm sorry. I had a brain fart and I was like, what?
Now, I will say I fucked up my third round pick.
There are some other players I would rate higher in terms of production than Calvin Ridley, but like who aren't receivers, like
sure.
George Kittle. I would take George Kittle in the second round.
I fucked up. No, you may say I didn't fuck up my third round pick, but I think I fucked up my third round pick. I picked George Kittle first overall pick in the third round.
No, I would think that's a good pick.
So I went Calvin Ridley, George Kittle was my pick.
To me that makes George Kittle a steal because I would take George Kittle with the second round pick if I had like the last pick of the second round.
See, like I know I could have taken a good tight end like later on in the draft, and I knew I needed a running back though.
There's like 2 tight ends that are worth high picks because of their point output. That's Travis Kelce and George Kittle. You take those 2 early because they're gonna give you receiver quality points for sure.
Possibly possibly Waller as well for Las Vegas because he had 107 catches last year.
Possibly, but again, Travis Kelce, George Kittle. That's like my rules. Like Travis Kelce and George Kittle. If they're there in like second or third round, you take them.
All right, I feel better about it then because I thought I messed that up because I knew I could take a tight end later on in the draft because there was a lot of tight ends that were available like later that were like really good. Andrews from Baltimore.
When I would make my spreadsheet, it would be like I would have them like as opposed to saying like players at position. I would do like the entire thing with like tiers. Mm-hmm. Like, is this a tier 2 player or tier 3 player? And that would kind of dictate like
See,
when I would
this
pick him,
this is where I think I messed up, because I could have taken like a better running back in the 3rd round, and in my 5th round pick I could have taken Mark Andrews, because Mark Andrews didn't get picked up until midway through the 6th round.
Right.
So
I forgot who Mark Andrews was.
Baltimore tight end.
Give me a minute. Yeah, I got it.
So I was like, damn, I could have had him like later on, and I could have picked up a good player, running back. My 4th round pick, which I picked at the end of the 4th round pick, was David Montgomery.
Where's he at now?
Chicago.
Yep. I don't know. Montgomery always made me nervous when he was in Green Bay, but he could do a lot worse.
And my 5th round pick,
he's a running back now, right? Like a bona fide running back.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the top of the 5th round, I was on the fence about 2, but I needed a wide receiver, so I chose Thielen.
Andrew Thielen?
Adam
Thielen.
Yeah.
I mean, he's healthy.
It was him and Tyler Lockett. I was on the fence about both.
I mean, if he's healthy, he's an all-pro.
Yeah.
He's an all-pro receiver if he's healthy. Got bye week 7 or something like that? Week 7
like that. He played 15 games last year, so yeah, that's healthy.
He's coming on off of a healthy season.
Yeah. I then went to round 6 for my quarterback. At the end of round 6, I took Justin Herbert.
It depends on who's available, but it's not a bad pick. I don't hate it.
So Russell Wilson was still available.
We're not Russell Wilson anymore, because he spends more time on his back than he does.
And there was another quarterback available that I was really on the fence about. Aaron Rodgers was still available.
No. But
I'm not confident in his ability to... Like,
with your luck, he wouldn't play at all. He would just say, I just won't play. Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know if I want to take him.
You can't take Rodgers until you know for sure he's going to play at all.
Brady was still available. I could have taken Brady.
Not at 6. Not yet.
He got taken in the 8th round. Let's see who else was available. That was pretty much it for like top tier quarterbacks.
Yeah,
Matt Stafford was still available. Ryan Tannehill was still available, but not that high.
Ryan Tannehill's top 5 quarterback last year.
Yeah, but would you take him that high? Like, I think Herbert's going to have a breakout year.
I think that's a good pick for Herbert. I just didn't know who else was available. You know what I mean? Like,
I gave you the thing.
No, I know. Yeah, then in that group, I would be between Herbert and Tannehill in that group.
So top of this,
Wilson's been my guy for years, but not with the offensive line.
Yeah. Top of the 7th round, I took James Robinson from Jacksonville.
Running back, right?
Running back.
Yeah. Sorry, I just his new names. Yeah. Again, it all depends on who's still available. I guess at this point in the draft, you're getting like those either steals or
Melvin Gordon was available.
I don't trust him.
Travis Etienne was available. He's the rookie running back from Jacksonville.
Where's Melvin Gordon now? Denver.
I
need to see more from them. They got a pretty solid schedule though for fantasy value, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, Leonard Fournette was available, but
yeah, Melvin Gordon makes me nervous. He always did.
With the end of the 8th round, I took DJ Shark. That was kind of like a panic pick because my time was running out.
Shark.
Yeah, DJ Shark. CHARK for Jacksonville. I took a lot of Jacksonville people.
Receiver guy.
Yeah, wide receiver, Jacksonville.
Quarterback.
I wanted to take Juju Smith-Schuster because he was still available, like 2 picks before.
Juju's a fantasy football trap. He's like Mike Evans.
Yeah.
He either gives you 19 or 30 points, or he gives you 4.
Yeah, but late in the 8th rounds.
Yeah, but again, who else could you get there? That's where you got. That's where the thoughts come in.
Right. So Cortland Sutton was available for wide receiver. Robbie Anderson, Jamar Chase, the new wide receiver that Joe Burrow's got. My next pick, I did go wide receiver back to back. I went DJ Shark, and I went Will Fuller, Miami.
I mean, I would have them rated pretty similarly.
Yeah.
Between DJ Shark and Will Fuller. He's got to stay healthy too, though. He can't stay on the fucking field. When he was on the field, that was really good. Where's he? Miami now?
Miami.
Okay.
10th round, I went defense, and I went Tampa Bay defense.
Pass rush. Gonna get sacks down there for sure.
And then my 11th round, I went Tyler Boyd, wide receiver, Cincinnati.
Tyler, my hand just for decoration, Boyd.
Yeah.
Again, you're this late in the draft. At this point, you're not drafting starters. You're drafting
backups. I mean, Deebo Samuel is available. I could have went there. Brandon Cooks was. I was actually on the fence between him and Brandon Cooks because Brandon Cooks was still available.
Yeah, I mean, again, at this point in the draft, in the seasons that I've been most successful, 4 in a row. At this point, I start kind of, you draft you draft your core guys, and then you draft your backups, and then you can kind of start getting a little froggy, like Jamar Chase, because again, you draft a guy that he could produce for you and be a game changer, or you might just bench him and cut him.
Rounds 12 and 13, I went backups, so I went backup quarterback and backup tight end, and I went with the most punchable face in the NFL. Kirk Cousins at 12. I almost went Matt Ryan because Matt Ryan got picked right before I was about to pick, and having him and Calvin, having him late in the 12th, maybe I'd start him instead because I'd have Calvin Ridley too. And then I went backup tight end on the 13th pick, and I went Rob Gronkowski.
What about Trevor Lawrence?
Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I would take a risk on Lawrence, as a backup QB. Because if he comes out and he's a monster, you got 2 solid starters.
I don't think Trevor Lawrence got drafted.
That should be fixed.
Nope, Trevor Lawrence didn't get drafted in this draft.
Then I would pick him up immediately.
Off waivers.
Yeah, immediately. Because
the 3 new QBs, the 3 top new QBs did not get drafted. Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Trey Lance.
I wouldn't draft either one. I wouldn't draft Lance or Fields. Maybe Fields. But with my last pick with Fields, but Lawrence, I might take a risk as the backup guy. Because again, if you draft him as your backup and he turns out to be an absolute monster, then got him. You know what I mean?
My final 2 picks back to back were kicker. I went kicker. I went Buffalo. Tyler Bass.
Was Justin Tucker not available?
Justin Tucker was not available.
When in doubt, Justin.
And then I went Naheem Hines, running back, Indianapolis.
Okay, but again, I back to Justin Tucker. I've always said Justin Tucker is a pick I'll make before some certain backup positions because again, he guaranteed, almost a guaranteed point bringer in.
A lot of people started auto drafting, so a lot of defenses and kickers went early. So Tucker went in the 9th round.
Oh yeah, human draft. That's not happening.
Yeah. So the one thing that I will say about the draft that I did is I messed up. I messed up my quarterbacks. They both have the same bye week. So if I were to go back and have to change that, I would definitely drop Kirk Cousins, and I'd probably pick up Trevor Lawrence if he's available, which he was. So the 7 players that were still available at quarterback were Deshaun Watson, Tua Tagovailoa, Ben Roethlisberger, Carson Wentz, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Trey Lance.
I take Lawrence before I take Tua.
Yeah.
But that's assuming he's going to be your backup.
Right.
You'll know well before that bye week if he's worth keeping on your team. Because you're not going to throw him in that bye week and hope that he gets you 30 points or 25 points. You're going to just at that point you'll know, okay, if I put him in, he'll be a solid 18 to 25 points. That'll be
That's what a backup's for. If you're drafting, unless you draft 2 star quarterbacks, then
at that point
you're gonna have a problem deciding which quarterback to pick that week.
And at that point, you're wasting picks.
Right.
Again, your backup.
Unless you're like me last year when I picked up Ryan Tannehill off waivers in the second week.
You didn't draft him though.
I didn't. but I was having problems deciding who to play
Well,
all year.
You didn't waste a draft pick on two start.
No, I didn't.
Like, I remember I think it was my brother or my cousin. Somebody drafted like, oh man, it was two starters, like two good like quarterbacks, but then like his receivers sucked. You know, because he wasted a draft pick, and obviously it's more than just one pick for the whole draft. But like, I remember saying like, oh, good, your quarterback situation is not a problem, but now you got to pick who to start every week, and your receivers stink. You know, so like I said, you draft a good starter, and he's your starter. You know, you keep him in unless he gets hurt or just as dog water. You know, and then obviously you can switch it over. But I've never drafted a quarterback and then cut them. You know what I mean? I've always kept the quarterback I drafted to be my starter. I switched my backups up.
Yeah, of course.
But you know, my philosophy has always been the same. If you draft a guy, you picked him in the draft for that, especially like an early pick. You picked him for that reason. You know, so don't overthink.
Yep. And the first quarterback off the table was obviously
I'll tell you though,
Mahomes.
who to keep an eye on. Waiver wire. Do not draft this man. If you do, I'm gonna come down there and beat you up. Keep an eye on him. My guy, Jones.
Daniel Jones got drafted in this draft.
Why?
I will tell you what position he got drafted.
I would not draft him.
Let's see. Because I told you Daniel Jones got drafted 14th round, 4th pick.
Yeah, I wouldn't draft him. But he's worth keeping an eye on because he got a whole bunch of new weapons this year. So if he starts to come out of this is his make or break it year as a Giants fan speaking, you know, like so with any luck he'll be throwing the ball around like he's supposed to.
And Ryan Fitzpatrick was the final quarterback taken to the draft. 15th round, 3rd pick.
So I would draft Fitzpatrick late round pick because
he's a good backup.
Yeah, he's a guy. It's Fitzmagic because you know all you need is to be Fitzmagic for that week. And again, if he's Fitz, you know, not magic, you'll know by then. So it's not a bad like last round pick or very very late round pick. I would pick that after I pick a defense and a kicker for sure. Absolutely. You know, I know guys. You know, if the quarterback's good enough, if you're I take Justin Tucker before I take a backup quarterback.
Right.
Again, Justin Tucker's going to get me 9 to 12 points a game.
Of course.
you know, but anybody but Justin Tucker, or those automatic guys, I take a quarterback for them. But again, it depends on who's there because you know quarterbacks are great, but you only have one of them on the team. So you know, it's as you and I have learned, it's better to have a problem with your flex than it is to have a problem with your quarterback.
Yes. So. Well. That ends this week's episode of Sports and Nonsense. Pretty good episode. A pretty good start to the episode. The middle was kind of boring.
What? That's a little rude, but whatever.
But no, it was a good one. I like doing the early ones. I might be able to go see my kids today.
Ooh.
So. But you can always follow Sports and Nonsense on Twitter at Sports and Nonpod. You can listen to Sports and Nonsense each week on the Sports and Nonsense podcast page on Spotify, iTunes, podcasts, and CastboxFM. You can also catch the video podcast on the Name Pending Productions YouTube page. Just go to YouTube and type in Name Pending Productions. You'll see a guy in a military uniform as their profile picture, and that is them, and that is where we are as well. Do you have any final Jerry Springer thoughts for the people this week?
No.
Dan
Campbell's a madman is all I have to say.
Oh yeah, we did talk about Dan Campbell today. I forgot about that. So yeah, we'll see if we start up a new segment called Dan Campbell Says each week, and we'll see if we can find some news article where he's just spouting the most ridiculous. We might have to do that during the regular season. Like during the regular season, it might be a thing.
Absolute madness from that man.
But I will talk to you later, sir. Everyone have a great week.